So you ever ask an AI chatbot something about, a recent event and it gives you that classic line, "Sorry, my knowledge was cut off in 2021." It's super frustrating. Well, today we're going to dive into the tech that's fixing all that. It's called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG for short. And believe me, it's making AI way smarter, faster, and a whole lot more reliable.
All right, here's the game plan. First, we'll talk about the big problem, the AI's knowledge gap. Then, we'll introduce RAG, see how it actually works under the hood, and we'll clear up a big question. Is it just a fancy search engine? And finally, we'll get into why this is such a massive game changer for AI.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about the AI's knowledge gap. Because really, to get why RAG is so cool, you gotta understand the problem it was built to solve.
I mean, it's a totally fair question, isn't it? You've got this incredibly powerful AI. You'd think it would know who won the championship last year or what the big news was yesterday. But so often, nope. So what gives? Well, the reason is kind of simple, but the scale of it is just massive. See, most of these big AI models are trained on this huge, frozen-in-time snapshot of the internet. Think of it like a giant textbook that was printed back in 2022. It knows everything, up until that print date. But what if you want to add what happened yesterday? Well, you'd have to reprint the entire insanely expensive book. And doing that every single day? Just not going to happen. So, right, how do you get around that crazy expensive reprinting problem? Well, this is where the hero of our story comes in. This is RAG.
So what is RAG exactly? The best way to think about it is this. RAG basically gives an AI a library card and a live internet feed, all rolled into one. So instead of just digging through its old, outdated internal knowledge, the AI can now go out and check a fresh, up-to-date source before it even starts to figure out an answer for you.
And this is my favorite analogy for it. It's like giving the AI an open book exam. Yeah. Instead of trying to make it memorize the entire internet for some impossible closed-book test, we just let it look up the answers from a current, trusted source whenever it needs to. It's just a much, much smarter way to do things.
And this whole open book thing, it gives the AI some serious superpowers. 4 of them, in fact. It makes it cheaper to run, keeps it totally up to date, makes it way more trustworthy because it can show its work, and it gives developers a ton more control. We're going to circle back and hit each of those at the end, so hang tight. Okay, so how does this actually work in the real world? Let's pop the hood for a second and see what's going on inside.
It's actually a pretty slick 4-step dance. So first, you take all that external knowledge, think news articles, your company's internal documents, whatever, and you organize it. It all gets turned into a numerical format, something called vector embeddings. Just picture a giant map where every single piece of information has its own unique coordinates. Then when you ask a question, your question also gets turned into coordinates on that same map. Step 2 is pretty cool. It's basically matchmaking. The system finds the pieces of info on the map that are closest to your question. Step 3 is where the real magic happens. It takes that relevant info it just found, bundles it up with your original question, and hands the whole package over to the AI. Now the AI has all this fresh context to work with. And the last step, step 4, that's really just good housekeeping. The system is always updating that knowledge map to make sure nothing gets stale.
Now, as I'm explaining this, something might be clicking in your head. You might be thinking, hang on, this sounds a lot like a search engine, and that is a great question. But the difference between RAG and search is actually huge.
So yeah, is RAG just a really, really fancy search engine?
Okay, here's the absolute key difference. Think of a regular search engine, even a great one, like a librarian. You ask it a question, and it's brilliant at finding you a list of relevant books and articles. It hands you the stack and says, here you go, its job is done. RAG, on the other hand, is like that librarian is also your personal research assistant. It goes and gets the books, but then it reads them for you, figures out the most important parts, and then generates a brand new, easy-to-understand answer just for you. One finds things, the other answers things.
All right, let's bring it all together. We've talked about what RAG is and how it works, but now for the big question. So what? Why does this matter? Why is this such a game changer? Let's get into those 4 key benefits.
Benefit number 1, it's way more cost-effective. And this is a big deal. Instead of spending literally millions of dollars to retrain a giant AI model from the ground up, companies can just update a much smaller, separate knowledge base. It's just a smarter, cheaper way to keep an AI in the loop.
Second, it completely solves that problem we talked about at the very beginning. RAG plugs the AI into a live, flowing source of information. That means it can tell you about what happened in the news yesterday or what your company's latest numbers are. Anything that changes constantly, that whole knowledge cutoff date thing, it's basically history.
Number 3 is a huge one, trust. We've all seen those times where an AI just makes stuff up. They call it hallucinating. Well, RAG tackles that head on. Since it's pulling its facts from specific, real documents, it can actually show you its homework. It can give you citations and links so you can see for yourself where the information came from. And that transparency, that's a massive leap forward for building AI we can actually rely on.
And finally, number 4 is all about control. For the people actually building tools with AI, RAG is incredible. It lets them carefully choose and manage the exact knowledge base the AI is allowed to use. So you can build super specialized chatbots for customer service or for legal research and be confident that the AI is only pulling from approved factual sources. No more going off the rails.
So, let's recap the big stuff. Remember, RAG is the AI's open book exam. It finally solves that whole outdated information problem. It does more than just search. It doesn't just find data, it uses that data to generate brand new answers. And all of that leads to AI systems that are more cost-effective, more trustworthy, and always current.
Which leaves us with one last really exciting thought. If AI can now consult the latest information on pretty much anything before it speaks, what new problems can we point it at? What new breakthroughs are possible? Think about things that change by the second, like financial markets or medical research. We're really just starting to see what's possible here.